Angry Joe here with the lead game designer Jamie from Far Cry 3. So obviously, at least from on the talk of the floor from the demo, Twitter exploded, at least my Twitter exploded with boobies, because that's the first thing you see. It caught us a little bit off guard. Can you talk a little bit about why that was included, or you're just trying to build a real, a more mature type game?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's what we're trying to do with Far Cry 3 is we want this to be like a real and authentic experience in this kind of an island where basically anything goes. It's just kind of this lawless frontier, and it's, you know, we want to make sure that we're doing that with fidelity, that, you know, things are going to happen.
Fidelity, I like that. Is that what they call it?
With good, proper physics.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the game. Let's jump into, first off, I mean, I was really surprised at the amount of value that's here. I mean, you were talking about the single-player campaign, you've got multiplayer, you've got a map editor. Let's talk about all the different things that's packed into Far Cry 3.
Yeah, you pretty much summed it up. I mean, this is a monster offering. We've got like a huge single-player open-world experience where, you know, you've got this huge storyline.
Open world, go anywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's something that's one of the really big tenets for Far Cry, is making sure that you decide, you have the choice about where you go and engage at what point. We've got a 4-player co-op campaign, just about another 6 hours of gameplay on top of that. There's like 4 competitive multiplayer modes, and then the map editor as well. So I mean, it's like, yeah, value is the word.
And I was a fan of Far Cry 2, but a lot of people had some complaints in between there about the enemies and driving the distances. Have you guys taken any fan feedback from what was learned in Far Cry 2? Because it seems like Far Cry 3 is sort of a combination of you know, island with the Far Cry 1 and then some elements for Far Cry 2. Could you talk to that?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a huge Far Cry 2 fan. I mean, it's one of the big reasons why I came onto the franchise, is because I think it was trying to do something really different and really nailed it and knocked it out of the court. There were some elements that were, you know, a little bit frustrating. We've tried to address that as much as possible. So, you know, malaria's gone, like degrading weapons, that's gone. The checkpoints is another really big one. The fact that the world didn't really feel like it changed, and we want this world to feel real. So you're going to be able to engage with outposts, and outposts are kind of where the pirates kind of control the area. You go in there, you take out the outpost, the Rakyat move in, and then the whole area changes in terms of feel. So you're no longer going to run into pirates out there, you'll start running into more rebels. It's just going to let you kind of just give you a bit more freedom to explore the world a little bit more, and, you know, without constantly feeling like you're under attack the whole time.
The danger in creating an open world game is unless you're doing a mission, you have to offer a reason and an incentive to explore other than the beauty. And we both know the game's beautiful. Far Cry has always had that reputation, but what incentive is there? Are there dynamic events, collectibles, rewards, things like that, or side missions?
Completely. I mean, that's the thing. We want this world to feel full. We talk about like a richness of experience when you're out exploring the world. So yes, you can jump into the main mission threads. If you come back out of there, there's crafting systems, there's all the XP, you can buy new weapons, you can upgrade your weapons.
Like
there's so much for you to do out there. And like you say, just the joy of exploration. That's a really important part of the world. We've got this beautiful island. I was just playing it the other day, and you kind of like you come through this brush, and you're standing on top of this huge bluff, and you've got like waves crashing down beneath you and stuff, and it's just, you're like, I need to find out what's around the corner of that cove, just because you just get that kind of joy of exploration and discovery.
Right. Okay, and so what kind of multiplayer characters can we play as? Is there going to be that indigenous lady out there running around? And this is a mature game, right? It's rated M?
I think we're fairly safe to say that we're probably heading that direction right now.
But what kind of features are there in multiplayer is what I'm at?
I mean, so the 4 players that we have in the co-op campaign, you've got these 4 kind of misfits. And if Jason's story in the single player is about this guy that kind of gets thrown into it and then gradually kind of breaks over the course of time, these 4 characters are characters that pretty much come to it broken in the first place. You've got Leonard, Mikhail, Tisha, and Callum. And they're kind of like, they've all got something wrong with them. They've all kind of like come from a background where they were doing something right, and then they just got a wee bit twisted. And now they're just charging in there, they're trying to get the revenge, trying to get back what's theirs. And then you get to play that side of things. You get to play the kind of the lawless frontier side of things, where anything goes. Where Vast is kind of doing that a little bit more in the single player. You get to kind of play as that kind of a character for co-op. But ultimately it's as much about, you know, just having fun with your mates and going in there and kicking ass.
And it seemed like the co-op flowed very well because it was basically objective-based. You were always working together, helping each other against, you know, normal enemies and then bosses that show up. But is there what is there in terms of competitive multiplayer?
Competitive multiplayer, we've got 4 modes. We've got what's the name of it? Firestorm is the first mode, and that's this kind of like, you know, you're going to be able to bomb each other's bases. Fire's obviously really important for Far Cry 3, so that's kind of like, you know, we've got a push mode, which is kind of like a slightly King of the Hill kind of vibe. We've got team deathmatch. There's another mode as well that we're not really talking about at the moment, but there'll be more to come on that.
All right. One of the unique things that I saw in the demo was that this play on insanity. You know, it was like a psychedelic experience started to happen when you got injected with something. Could you talk a little bit about how that factors into the game? Is that a big part of the game, or is it just, you know, a unique part of the game?
No, definitely. I mean, it's very much a part of the mission thread that you're following. I mean, you have to try and think about the situation that Jason's found himself in. He's a guy like you or I. I mean, you know, he's just come from the west coast of the States. He's out partying out in the tropics, and it goes so pear-shaped, it's just not true. Like, his friends get killed in front of him. One of his brothers gets shot in the face right in front of him. I mean, it's really, really harrowing. And that's pretty much, you know, it's then a question about how he reacts to that kind of situation and what are the kind of things he's going through. Like, we're talking about this lawless frontier where anything goes. It's this tropical paradise, and, you know, there are hallucinogenic substances there, and you've got other characters like the Doctor who are taking advantage of that, and, you know, he sticks you with a needle at one point, you're not quite sure what's happening. So it's a really big part of the game. It's a big part of, you know, you exploring everything that island has to offer.
And are there like power-ups? I mean, is that an ongoing thing where you can inject yourself with drugs and you're all like going around the island all psychedelic up? Is like with superpowers or something? Or it's not really.
No, we have a whole crafting system based around the plants and the flora on the island and stuff. So you can use plants you can do the basic stuff, like you can kind of heal yourself. It's also going to give you other sort of special powers that are going to let you see animals moving around, sort of like get animals to kind of like go away from you, come towards you, all that kind of stuff. So there'll be a lot.
That element in Far Cry, you know, so you got like animal vision and stuff like that, and crafting. I'm really surprised by that. That's awesome. So,
how remarkable it must be to see the world through your eyes. Oh, this is some crazy shit.
And speaking about that, like, what kind of materials are you going to use to craft? Are there like wildlife? Is there, you know, is this, you know, help that make the world feel alive? Going and collecting herbs. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Well, again, it's this idea of this island paradise that we want to feel full of animals and stuff. And we've got, like, I think there's more than 30 animals that we have roaming around the island at any one time. And you probably saw tigers in the demo. There's like monkeys and stuff. There's a Komodo dragon in there. And you're not just going to run into them in cages like that. They're going to be out wandering around in the world. They're going to be hunting each other. They're going to be hunting NPCs. It's a really full feeling of life that you get out in the world. And also, I mean, these are really dangerous things. I mean, you know, you kind of see one the first time and it's like, oh, it's a tiger, it's a game, yeah, whatever, and you start shooting at it, and then it's like, whoa, wait a minute, oh, hang on a minute. And you really get that sense as well. You know that there are going to be a certain animal type in a certain region. You're kind of crawling through the brush, and then you start hearing this growls, and it's like, oh man, okay, I'm a bit.
It's like a survival type game. You got to really be on your toes.
Yeah, and
awesome,
then you use them to craft as well. So that's, you know, after you've hunted these animals, you kind of skin them, and then you can craft stuff with them to expand your inventory.
So it's not just animals. There's also vehicles laid around the world. Do you guys have a count on how many vehicles are in the game? And is there a really unique one that you're excited for players to grab a hold of?
Definitely. There's more than one vehicle that I'm excited about. Definitely. I mean, I think we've got more than 15 vehicles altogether out in the world. And so, you know, getting around is a really, really important thing. And we've really upped the driving experience too. So, you know, you're going to feel like you're really kind of ragging around in a 4x4 off-road. We've got like quads in there, which are an absolute blast to just kind of rag around on. Jet skis, we've got boats, we've got like massive armored patrol boats and machine guns.
Are you flying?
Yeah, we've got a glider. The glider is definitely making a comeback.
I don't think I want to spoil it for you.
So overall, about how long do you think the single player element? I mean, you can get as many hours out of the multiplayer, even more out of the map builder and sharing the maps, because sharing that online, you can share those online?
Absolutely.
Okay, but what about the single player experience? About how long do you think that is?
If you're just playing the missions, we're aiming for around 20 hours. So, I mean, that's just the missions. And then the open world around it, which is by far and away the larger part of the game, I mean, yeah, you can basically just get out there and spend as much time as you want to out there.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I took away from the presentation, the demo, everything, is that there's a huge, incredible amount of value in here, in addition to the beautiful graphics and the other things in the game. All right, well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, and we'll see. We'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show.
From humanity's finer specimens to the rest of God's creatures, it fascinates me how something so pure sends the brain to the brink of destruction. Take off!
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
You'll see for yourself. Scout's honor. I suggest that you come back for a taste later. You won't regret it.